And we're back after a brief hiatus from the airwaves, from the podcast waves. The Grand Line Tourist is back, baby. I am
That's right.
Eric C. Vu. Across from the interwebs is my partner in crime. Go ahead.
I am none other than Jacob, unknown middle name,
That's right.
Jarecki.
Yeah, all of our inside jokes are coming back hot and heavy for this episode.
That's right. You thought a brief hiatus would stop the inside jokes? No way. No way.
No way.
We expect you to have a good memory.
Yes, and that's what friendship's all about. It's the inside jokes and the inside jokes that we met along the way. This is obviously
Indeed.
the Grand Line Tourist podcast, a chapter-by-chapter examining or re-examining of Ichiro Oda's masterpiece, One Piece. Dude, like riding a bike, Jacob. Can I just say, it's like riding a bike that we have written for 70 chapters that we're writing for the 71st time.
Yeah, I was suggesting you put on training wheels, but no need. I mean, just that was buttery smooth.
Yeah,
Buttery smooth.
we're coming back in. It is the holiday season, and I have to say, I think we're approaching. This has to be around our 1 year mark, right?
Oh, it has to be. We may have actually. We'll have to check later. I mean, this could be like on the day of. I feel like we started December. I'm not
pretty sure we did start December because
maybe we have no memory. It could have been November as well, but it was definitely towards the end of the year. So yeah,
Oh, yeah.
You've either already surpassed the.
I
1 year
remember
point,
it was cold.
So
Yeah, it was cold,
Yeah.
and we decided that we wanted to, talk about a warm story, which was One Piece.
indeed.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and jump into it. This is Chapter 71, Lords of All Creation. As this is your first time here, obviously we're going to be examining Chapter 71. We're going to have some fun with it. But we always start with, you know what we do, an itinerary. And today, I'm going to do the tourist's job as the tourist leading the tour, or the tour guide's job leading the tourist through the...
Forget everything I said about buttery smooth. I take it all back.
It's a little more chunky. We're looking more at chunky stuff.
Yeah, no, you don't always want smooth butter. Sometimes you want chunks. Like
Chunky
good stuff.
butter.
Depends on what
Like
you're
butter
eating.
that hasn't been churned quite well. Let's talk about the itinerary.
Exactly.
Let's do the itinerary.
Delicious.
Chapter 71, Lords of All Creation. Usopp finds out that Nohiko and Nami grew up in that very house that he is currently in. And I'm going to name it the Tangerine House because there's like tangerines all over the place.
Oh, yeah. Good, solid.
Right? So the Tangerine House is where Nami and Nohiko grew up because they were orphaned, and the person who was actually raising them, well, that person's no longer with them. So that's, just sad story straight off the bat. But Usopp's so confused. He's like, wait, if Nami's from this city, from this village, the Cocoa Village, why would she ever join the Arlon Pirates, And the Arlon Pirates are obviously... destroying all the villages on that island and all that good stuff. And then Nohiko just kind of confirms, like, yeah, she's twisted. She is a witch, right? Don't you hate her more? And which Usopp kind of proclaims that he does kind of hate her more, and essentially saying that he's done. He's done trying to save her. She's unsavable. Now all he cares about is getting the boat back and leaving. To which Nohiko goes, "Oh, that boat over there."
Yeah. Look to your left.
Yeah, and he's like, "Yeah, that's the boat." And then Usopp does the thing where he goes, "Oh, now I know the geography of this island," which is essentially that Tangerine House is in the middle of Gosha Island, which is, if you all remember, folks, in Chapter 70, Gosha Village is where the Arlon Pirates destroyed and flipped over houses. Then there's Tangerine Island,
Yes.
the Tangerine House, and then there's Cocoa Village, which is Nami's village and the village that's still intact. And then right next to it, on the other side of Cocoa Village, is Arlon Park. So
Yeah, and that was heading east to west,
Yeah.
and that was, I think, the right thing to do because we're reading a manga. You go from right to left.
Oh.
Great work.
look at that.
Very
We're
smart.
making things happen over here. We tied the themes together. During this
Indeed.
little geography lesson, Usopp realizes, oh no, Zoro's still captured by the Arlon Pirates. And therefore,
My bad.
we go back to the farm, which is Arlon Park, and we see Zoro say to Arlong, "I am looking for a woman, you have fish." To which Arlong takes huge offense to, because Arlong is like, "You dirty human, do not make me feel like the incompetent person here. You guys are obviously the inferior race, you humans. Fish people are the
Whoa.
evolution of humans because we can swim and breathe underwater.
Breathe underwater,
and we're
baby.
stronger. And we are, and this is where the title of the chapter comes from. We are the lords of all creation. For humans to fight fishmen is for humans to fight nature itself. Deep, like lore-worthy, just like the deepest pride of being a fisherman, huh? At this point, Nami comes out. Nami is like, "That's a really stupid theory. You have to stop spouting it." And this is where Zoro is told that, oh, Nami is a member of the Arlong pirates, and he is. I think he's skeptical. I think that's a better term for it. He's questioning it and her loyalty.
I don't think he buys everything. You know, maybe he buys a little bit, but he's not buying everything.
He's not buying everything, and Arlong's like, well, you're my favorite human because you're built different, and your maps are great, and all this junk, right? But then Zoro is like trying to feed into Zoro's like, so you've been lying to us this whole time, and Nami's like, yeah, I have. You know, I'm a liar, and he's like, man, if you're a liar, then you're probably a murderer too, right? And she says, yeah. Test me on that. To which Zoro immediately tests her on it by jumping, while tied, by the way, hand and feet tied, jumping with his knees on the floor, like just jumping off into the water behind him, essentially drowning himself, right? The little octopus pot.
I mean, it was a nice little hop there. That's not easy to do when you're tied up. It's like a lot of effort.
There's a lot of thigh muscle there. I can only imagine, with the only muscles working at that moment to knock him back into it. So Nami sees this, and Nami actually jumps in after him, because she's not a murderer, which is confirming Zoro's his theory of like, she has
his little ploy there.
She has her own thing happening. She saves him, but she saves him like far away from the other Arlong pirates, the other fisherman pirates, to kind of have a small conversation aside, for Zoro to be like, you know, I guess you're not what you say you are, like you're not betraying us fully. And Nami's like, whatever, dude, don't do it again. And then she punches him in his car. And then afterwards she tells Arlong, like, I don't want to kill him yet. Just put him in the jail and I'll deal with him later. We jump back to... no. And then one of the other fishermen shows up, and they're like, hey, Arlong, his friend, the long-nosed friend of this pirate we have, he got away at Cocoa Village. And Arlong's like, dope. I have some things to handle at the Cocoa Village. Let me go do it. Let's go take a look. And then we cut to Cocoa Village, where we see Jinzo, which is a member of the Cocoa Village. He's just a Cocoa Village villager. And he is saying, because they're all freaking out. They're like, oh, Arlong's on their way here. They're coming right now. And he says, Jinzo says he must have found out about my sword, because Arlong does not want swords on his island, essentially. And this is where we hear his giant ploy, which is he is extorting all of the villages and all of the towns on this island for monthly payment tribute, because his goal is to one day build an Arlong empire in all of East Blue, which is a crazy concept.
Yeah. A crazy concept, and also, like, maybe we could say not that impressive. I mean, we are currently under the leadership of, Luffy, who is, I feel like, bigger ambitions, right?
Yeah.
So let's go to the Grand
We
Line.
have a lot of questions to ask, because we do know that, oh man, maybe we'll save this for the discussion. But we'll have to come back to it for sure. But that's what he says. That's what we're revealed, and that's what, Nohiko kind of tells Usopp on the side, like, oh, we pay a monthly tribute. This is what's happening, and all that good stuff. And then we cut back to Nami, who is letting Zoro loose and saying, you need to get out of here, because now, like, all of this stuff is about to go down. That's the chapter. Yeah. A hefty chapter, if I would say so myself.
Yeah, a 3-location chapter, and it kind of smoothly goes. And maybe, I don't know, where Zoro was at the very end, where Nami lets him go. Maybe, I guess, same location, but we jump back to it really quick.
Right, yeah. Still
Otherwise, it flows pretty smooth. Yeah, because we're kind of going, I guess the trajectory of it is, I know, what'd you call it? You called it the Tangerine House?
Yeah, Tangerine House to Arlong Park.
And then, and then Cocoa Village.
Yeah, and then back to Arlong, yeah.
Originally, I called Tangerine House Nojiko Hut.
Oh, that's pretty good, too.
But, no. But Tangerine House is nice. I feel like, I mean, it's like, yours is more creative. It's about the home itself. Mine is just like, this is where that person lives.
Yeah. Before we get too deep into our discussions, which I have juicy ones because it's been a while, and this chapter had a lot of fun little things to talk about. We got to talk about the cover story, baby, because it's back. It's back. Buggy's crew after battle. Part 24. Body parts run amok.
Oh, yes. Yes, they do. This is a fun one. This is just fun. If you look at the cover here, we basically have, because you know what, it's been a while. I know what happened before. Why did the assumption is they unwrapped the body parts of Buggy, right? Did they have a reason to do it? I can't remember. They just were curious.
They're gonna eat it. Like, why wouldn't know? They're cannibals, right? Go. So like, oh look, it's already
they're
chopped.
Cannibals. So like, hey, they can't resist it, right? And it's still fresh somehow, right? And then all of a sudden, we have all these pirates getting their, I don't even know they're pirates, all the cannibals of the island getting their 1-4 from Buggy's body parts just like flailing about,
so
right?
Good.
Blood everywhere.
Exactly, yeah.
Richie in the background. I don't know what is Richie just scared of Buggy as well? Or is like he getting caught in the crossfire? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, or they're just hot.
They're just hot. Oh yeah, because duh. Yeah, they were already being cooked.
Right, they're already being boiled.
There we go. Yeah, now it's all kind of coming
back. We solved
it. But a very cool one. Yes.
All right, so let's jump into the discussion. But this is something I do want to chat about because you brought it up. I actually didn't have this discussion point, which is like, why would Arlong only want East Blue, right?
Yeah.
But let's remember
what's going on there.
That essentially one of the what are they called? Warlords? I want to get the term right.
I think you got it. Warlords. Seven of them, right?
One of the warlords, which is a fishman named Jinbei, kicked him out.
Yeah.
Kicked him out of the Grand Line. So it's one of those things where you're like, oh, maybe he thinks that he needs to essentially rule all of East Blue, build a big enough empire to get to like invade back into the Grand Line for his admission.
I see. It could be the start.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Alternatively, he's done with the Grand Line. He's like, you know what? Too much work. You know,
it is a lot of work.
Wrong with just being
a strip of land.
Nothing wrong with being a leader of the East Blue.
Yeah.
You know, I also kind of like something that's kind of fun to remember about Arlong is like he was playing with the government. You know, they're in cahoots, right? Maybe that's just the right mixture of pirate life, easy money, and whatever he's looking for in life. You know, you gotta sometimes choose your battles.
Yeah.
Maybe a Grand Line, leader of everything. Forget it.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So
work with the Navy, make some stuff happen.
And apparently that's his relationship with them right now, right? Okay. Our first big discussion topic, which is betrayal, which is getting our trust betrayed. Obviously, it comes in the form of Nami, but we get two characters who kind of find out the same thing. They find out the same thing kind of at the same time, right? Which is Usopp and Zoro.
Yeah.
But I kind of want to chat with you about it a bit, and I'm gonna go a little deep with you here. Have you ever been betrayed? Like personally.
Have I ever been betrayed personally? It might be too hot topic. It might be coming in too fast.
Yeah.
I would say that I don't think I've been outright betrayed. Mm-hmm. You know, I feel like the thing that sometimes can happen is you have a feeling or an expectation towards a relationship or how things might go, and then when they don't go that way, you feel like you do feel what you might describe as a bit of a betrayal.
Yeah.
And I think the classic common example, I'm gonna reach far back and go for like I just remember like it could be kind of a little comic at sometimes. I had a new girlfriend way back in high school, and I was just head over heels for this girl, and I came on too strong, and it basically resulted in a quick turnaround from like this relationship just starting quickly and then ending very fast, right? And I felt betrayed by this, because I thought, I didn't initiate the relationship, they did, and then it was just like, oh shoot, I went too strong, I showed too much love, and that resulted in like an eradication of something that I thought was there, and so that it felt like a betrayal. But I don't think I have a great example. I don't think I've ever had somebody like take my money when I wasn't looking or something like that.
No, I got you.
I haven't had a classic Nami betrayal, which, I mean, you know what? Another betrayal. Nami, just the character. I feel betrayed, I still think she's good, but, you never know. Everything's pointing in the other direction. Mm-hmm. It's a bit of a betrayal personally. This is like a betrayal by the character set up in the art that I'm enjoying. What about you?
I feel
you gotta dig deep. Betrayal. You felt you've gotten your money swindled.
I feel like you're mentioning a really good thing, which is like it's not only Usopp and Zoro who's like getting betrayed. Like we are as readers, right?
We are.
Because we essentially are living
Yeah.
through the pirate, like the Luffy pirates.
Usopp doesn't exist, we
Right,
do.
and we feel betrayed, and I feel like for sure good examples are like relationships, like romantic relationships are really good ones, right? When you feel betrayed, because like I think when I'm thinking about trust, I think trust is a sort of an agreement that you are having with another person, which is like these are the doors that we are opening to each other, essentially, right? Think of trust as doors, and you open it as like, oh, this is a part of my life that I want you to come see. This is a part of my silliness that I want you to see. These are all these doors of Temple Eric are opening for this person. So for
I like this.
For them to betray you, which is essentially like, oh, I took a peek into all of these doors in your temple, Temple Eric, and I decided that I don't want any of it, and I don't care. Ooh. In fact, I'm going to take those things and use it against you and then say that that's your fault for thinking that I would enjoy being in your space, being in your emotional space, right?
Yeah.
So it's really fun to see that these characters have very different reactions to it. Usopp's like, I'm done. I'm done with her. She's terrible. I don't need her, right? Whereas, like, it's kind of like the stages of grief, whereas Usopp's at anger.
Zoro does not accept.
Right? Yeah, he's at... But, and then Zoro's at the negotiation part of it, which is, like, the compromise. And, like, I don't fully agree yet, right? Like, that this person is betraying me.
Oh, yeah, and he does, I think, a very interesting strategy, right? He says, I'm going to, like, I've opened doors to Nami.
Yep.
I don't know if she... Like, I can't tell... At this moment right now, although I see the evidence, I'm not yet convinced she's entered into the, like, and taken some of the light from me and just, gone away with it just without a thought. I'm going to test her, right? And so that is what he does. He tests her, and that is, I think, just the way he has to test her because he's tied up makes it particularly,
really good.
Kind of epic. It was epic. I feel like this is a good moment. Like, I really liked how, the classic... well, I guess I'm going to jump off this cliff sort of thing, right? And then watch the other person either do nothing or do something.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's just one of those really cool things of just being able to see, like, he's just like, I see, like, you're still my friend. I still have this relationship to you. But if you're going to say these things, like, you're done with me, then maybe let's see if you're going to take the action to actually do it, right? And then him jumping into the water was very epic, but also a proof to him, like, oh, you're not really out of this, like, whatever you think you are. But yeah, that was just, I really wanted to talk about the topic of betrayal because I think this is a big theme in this one, at least, of just what's happening going down. My last thing I want to talk about is Fishman Pride.
Whoa, really quick.
Oh.
You've had your temple taken away. You don't have to go deep specifics. What was your, you got some money stolen. You got
well, I've never gotten money
someone didn't
stolen,
return.
but I do think like
you lent someone a good book and poof, never saw that book again.
I think I've had a lot of instances of like maybe putting in too much towards like a project specifically, and then in the end just watching it. Oh, here's a good one, and it's not really the fault of their own, but
yeah,
I remember working very hard at iOS, which is an improv theater in Los Angeles, only to be betrayed in the sense that iOS, if nobody really knows, so Improv Olympic, like they're a big theater in Chicago, and then they moved out to the West Coast, and they had a theater there for a long time. That's where I started doing improv. That was kind of like my home that I loved a lot. But essentially, what happens is I
took some classes there.
The Chicago branch decided that iOS was no longer profitable, or they're going to take the resources out of that place and send it over there to Chicago and try to build a Chicago thing. So it did feel like a betrayal when they essentially closed down the West Coast branch of this theater that I've invested a lot of money into, a lot of time, a lot of love. And it did hurt a lot of like, oh, you obviously have your own opinions about what this theater is going to be, but you didn't take into consideration all the feelings that were involved and all the people who were involved in there. You did this one thing and then you just left it.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because it's like a very impersonal betrayal.
Right.
Like you couldn't, like, I mean, I don't think you were on like one-on-one talking basis with whoever made the decision to close iOS, right? But nevertheless, iOS meant a lot to you, and it was going away, and it's like something betrayed you, but it's like it's not so this person or this thing, right?
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I mean that's probably a really good example that I just thought about. Yeah, because I do remember feeling betrayed, a little betrayed about like the people I gave money to, the people who told me this will be a space where I can kind of grow as an artist, and then they're like, "Well, grow somewhere else."
Oh yeah, well, and just to let you know, like I mean, I was around back then. I could see the look of feeling that betrayal on your body, on your face. It's rough.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, yeah.
So,
Because
yeah,
we were performing together at that point.
Yeah, no, and the betrayal, it didn't look good on you.
Oh, thanks, man. I don't think betrayal looks good on anybody.
No, it doesn't. Oh, so yeah. But no, very true. This theme of betrayal, coming here to Nami is getting revealed to all our characters at different times, and I don't think we haven't seen it be revealed to Luffy yet, right?
I think it's almost poetic and great that he's the last one to find out, because he's also the first. Yeah, he was the first one to meet her.
Yeah, and the first one to kind of think she could rise beyond what she was, or what she. I mean, she was kind of blunt about, like pretty fast. Maybe not right away. I think after a couple of minutes, we knew what she was up to, right? So yeah,
it's cool. It's leading up to a really cool thing. And also, last thing I want to say before we move on, it's hard to forget that, or it's easy to forget that this is a story meant for kids. You know what I mean? Like, it's meant for, like, middle school to elementary school boys, some girls, too. You know what I mean? But it's, for him to be dealing with this topic of betrayal, like, yeah, as a reader, I do feel a little betrayal. But it's really cool for him to show, like, sometimes when people are doing, there's numerous reasons why people do betrayals, or do the things they do. You know, and it's...
Teacher, he took my basketball at recess.
Right, exactly. And it's... We never know. And hopefully, and I feel like he's going to do it. I mean, I know he's going to do it, but he's going to dive deeper into why she's doing any of these things. Right?
Yeah. So. Well, and I mean, just to call out maybe a few moments in the chapter that reveal more stuff that is going on. Mm-hmm. There definitely was a moment where Arlong mentions that one even forgave the death of a parent for money, and the look on Nami's face is not one of, I'm cool with that.
I forgot if that line happened here. Yeah, that's not a cool line for him to say.
Yes.
But but we know who he's talking about, right? Because the scene before Nohiko was talking about, well, the person who used to take care of us is dead.
Yes, but we don't know too much about the relationship between Nami as an orphan with this person. I mean, we can assume it was good, and I mean, forgave. Like, the look on her face does not scream forgiveness, it screams trauma.
And that's also, I forgot, like, that's such a good point to bring up, because that's also the reason why Zoro's like, oh, you're not fully in this.
Good point. No, actually, I did not pick up on that, but Zoro, that's actually very clear in these panels. Nami looks traumatized. Zoro has an exclamation point and like a little bit of an eye flick. He's noticing that
because she's only making that face.
That's
to
when
him.
He decides to make his move. Yeah, no, it's kind of funny. I actually thought Zoro's move was based on the like strength of their relationship up to this point, but it's based on not only that, but also just Zoro's a pretty good detective.
Yeah. Also, like it's such a mean thing for him to say. Arlong, I mean, but this actually leads into Fishman Pride, which is our second discussion point.
Fishman Pride,
which we know, like we talked about it way before, but this is a story obviously about race. Yes, like heavily.
And this is okay. It's funny because you were just also talking about how this is a story meant for kids, and so although the racial themes are pretty on the nose, right? Like they're just there, right? Like don't talk that way about humans, you dirty fisherman. Like it's just there. I don't feel it as much, not in a like gut wrenching way that you do with like movies that are dealing with like the Holocaust, right?
Right, exactly.
We haven't. And maybe we're getting a tease of getting to a point where there's going to be some confrontation that is very fishmen versus human race based. But when it's so group versus group, and when the villain is so comically
villainous,
evil looking, it does take a little bit of the punch of maybe the thematic element of racism being there, but I still believe that maybe he's going to build it up slowly in this section. I don't know. How do you feel about the racial elements?
So this is what I 100% agree with you. I think it's just a surface level conversation about race because it's so easy when they're literally fish people. Like, you know, like it's so different. But I have to say though, I I think about this all the time because us being American, race is always a conversation, and I do think we have very deep conversation and thoughts about race in this country because we are American and because there's such variety here. Whereas
Yeah.
I know for a fact Japan has a very weird relationship with foreigners and some xenophobia, and like it's just maybe this is the only way they know how to talk about race. Maybe there's not even like a conversation about race over there because they are so homogenous. They are like not over 90% Japanese. You know what I mean? So to them, and they all Asian. You know, like it's not like, you know, you and I both are American, but I'm Asian and you're Caucasian. You know, I don't think people can tell based off our voices and our names. But that's so different. So I feel like it has to influence the way that Japanese folks approach race and talk about race. And I thought that was kind of a fun thing that we're seeing because this story, I know, like, is heavily about race, but is also, like you and I are agreeing right now, very surface level about race. Or it's just so clearly, like, this group versus that group, as opposed to, like, anything else, you know?
No, exactly. And it's one of those things that's, you know, me and you just kind of have our own American perspective on it, and we can kind of fathom what the Japanese think about it.
Right.
It's it would be interesting to do a little bit of like personal research just because I imagine people are very good at finding differences between groups of people. Mm-hmm. And so I'm sure racism just it melds itself into a different form of society. You know what I mean? Maybe, you know, it could be class based, you know what I mean? It could be, you know, businessmen versus, you know, like poorer
it has
folk,
to
you know,
100% be like that, yeah.
Oh yeah, I know. And so it's just always interesting to see where this stuff crops up. But here, yeah, it is the people with the gills and the people without the gills.
Right, exactly. But I do love the fact that he really believes that he's like part of the master race. So there's a lot of clearly like fishmen.
Yeah, well, it's like it tides the line of being like the perfect analog for really really racist stuff, but like they don't use like. What you just said made it sound like, ooh, like One Piece is really digging into this.
But it's like,
but I would say again, they don't use the word master race, right? No. They just say, like, whatever, however the wording comes across.
But Lords of Creation, though, my man, like that's pretty close.
No, I think it's because it goes. I think it's because it's a different phrase that goes so like it's so close to we want to rule the world. You know what I mean? That it jumps the gun. You know what I mean? Like you need to be like. For the racism to feel worse, like I don't know, just like I have to throw out an idea. I would need to see like you know, like when they capture like Zoro, them to be like, well, we're gonna carve some gills on you because like just to, like, you know what I mean? We're missing this like last little layer of pure evil, like that's related to the racism. Mm-hmm. It's like the pure evil is just so pure evil, and they're just kind of, you know, getting money from a bunch of people. It like right now, if you took racism out of this story, it would work just as well. Is I guess maybe the reason why it doesn't feel like it probably won't wind up being that way, but right now it feels like it is, right? Because it's almost just like what Buggy was doing to that other town, like just taking their money, ruling over them with the power of strength, right? And that's what this guy has over these people. It just so happens that he's saying it's racially motivated, but he also wants to just rule the world with his money, and so it doesn't. How like I guess there's no village of fish people that he's not doing this to. You know what I mean? If there was another village that was fish people and he was stepping over it and he was like building that village up, but right now it's just they're a band of warlords that are terrorizing the people of this other land. Like, you know, we'll see. I want to see how this develops. Yeah. I'll put a pin in it there. It's very interesting.
Yeah. So we got a lot of things to kind of explore. I do think they dive into it a bit more about his like this hate.
Oh, I imagine.
Right, his hate for humans and all this stuff. So we gotta wait. We gotta see what we get.
The only thing, you know what, to dive into something really interesting, Zoro does say, "You darn dirty half fish," and it does make me wonder. Like I guess this is new to the world. I actually don't know. Like Zoro's a racist right there. Right?
A little bit,
I mean,
yeah.
Unless he might only be saying that because these particular people are terrorizing him, right? You know. But he also could be saying that because just everyone in this world presupposes fish people are, you know, not great, you know? And so we'll have to see if it's a fish people thing, if it's a Zoro thing, or, you know, this is where we'll find out how deep we go into this exploration.
That's fair,
in this story that is for children. So it's kind of interesting to see how we navigate topics
because
like
the only person we know for sure who had no idea about fish people was Luffy.
who has no idea about anything. So we get he gets to be our nice little like, what wrong with fish people? Question mark. You know.
Yeah,
we'll
he's our proxy audience member, right? That's all I have for topics. Is there anything else you wanted to cover or chat about before we move on to some ha's?
No, I think we talked about Nami's like little mention of her parents and her being an orphan. I think when Nami dives in for Zoro, this is more of just a procedural question for how the chapter worked. Why didn't everyone question her as she did that? I thought like her diving in to save Zoro would have been questioned as a thing.
Is it a cop out if I say racism?
Oh, because like she's a human and she was saving another human.
And they're just kind of like, that's just kind of what humans do. Like maybe that's like.
No. Well, I mean, but it's better than what I had, which is I didn't have an explanation.
Okay.
I was like, she got him out of the water, and they do a good job of showing her beat them up. But the problem is, why not just let him drown?
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? She's supposed to be the cold-blooded witch. To keep up the cold-blooded witch image, diving in and then beating someone up, it's a weird mix, right?
Mm-hmm.
But again, I guess we also had the thing that like maybe the fish people aren't too smart or following along, and they're just like, aha, she's beating somebody.
Yeah,
Good
exactly.
her,
maybe they're like,
cold-blooded witch.
Nami wants to.
I can buy that too.
Yeah, stab him later.
Yeah, I just wanted to. They're like, death isn't like. They could have thrown in a line where she says, "Death isn't good enough for you," and then like beats him up, get him in the brig, right?
Yeah.
It just they didn't quite word it that way. And it is it was I just called it out. But no, we got some good explanations for it now. I just wanted to get those out there in case anyone else out there, any other tourists were like, I don't know. Now we got some possibilities.
All right. I only have one haha, but let's go to this segment. Let's go to OP Got Jokes.
I actually have, this is one of my favorite ha-has in quite a while, just because I like how it came up. I wonder if it's the same one. I'll let you go first.
You're going to let me go first? Okay. I wonder if we have the same one. I just have, my favorite joke is, are you talking about that boat there?
That boat? Oh, okay, no, I got a different one then. So you take that one?
Yeah,
that boat there?
like
it's just there, right?
Yeah.
Haha. Not bad. I could not get over. I really loved, Zoro throws himself in the water, right? Mm-hmm. And it's confusing because, like, there was a confrontation going on between Zoro and the other people. So it did actually, when I even saw the panel of Zoro falling backwards, I half presupposed that, like, Nami pushed him in as a show of, like, what she was doing, right? But we learned quickly that wasn't what happened. But it does look like something happened that's weird. And we do have, what happened? Why did he suddenly jump in? Somebody push him? And then we have somebody else who's like, banana peel? Question mark? And I really like the banana peel question mark. I mean, I immediately thought of like Mario Kart and like slipping, and there's obviously no banana peel around. So I just like the thought that somebody would say, oh, the only way this situation logically makes sense, there's got to be a banana peel around here somewhere.
You're right. Fish people are dumb. Or at least these specific,
no, maybe that. There we go.
Fish pirates here are dumb.
Yeah, they don't seem to be the smartest.
Should we go to our panel battle then? If that's all we got? Yeah.
Yes, we shall. We're going on to the panel battle. This is the section where Eric and I adopt. We both get out a croissant. We paste it with a little bit of butter that is very chunky from very earlier, and I try not to do an accent that's too racist on accident. Tying it all together in one little snippet there. We send these panels right at each other to see, who picked the better panel, who has a better read on, what's important in this chapter, what is visually engaging and interesting.
But Jacob, what
and
if
this is not.
I, the listener, would like to participate? How do I do that?
Oh, yes. You, young
Yes,
lad, you want to participate in the panel battle. Oh, how glorious, how
do I do that?
wonderful. This is very simple, my friend. You just have to sell your soul to a various internet agency that gives you an email address. And then once you have said email address, you can use it to send it to where we sold our soul, which we picked Google, because they seem like a decent place for it. grandlinetourist@gmail.com. You lickety-split, you put a postage stamp on that email,
I'm going to make sure I got
that
that email address right. You said nameofpodcast@gmail.com?
That's exactly right, annoying little school child.
Oh, thank you.
grandlinetourist@gmail.com. Oh, there we go. All right, you know what? Let's get on with it. I see a panel being sent my way in the Discord. I'm clicking it. I'm opening it up. Oh, it is a panel we discussed.
Did, yeah.
This is It actually looks, out of context, it actually looks really cool.
Doesn't it? It looks like a fun little thing.
Yeah, you actually can't tell which direction. Okay, so everyone knows this is Zoro above the water because he has just used all his thigh muscles. He didn't work out leg day the day before. He was tied up. It was all fine. He used all that saved up muscle energy to throw himself into the air. We got the thump noise at the bottom of him having done that. We got Nami and a fishman looking surprised, exclamation point. Yeah, and he's just currently oddly floating above the air. We see a shadow on the water, and he's heading down into it. Tide man going into water, never good. And we got some background pirates and fish people looking onward.
I mean, I just love the image of it, and it's so, like you said before, I think epic is the right word for it, because this is like a very epic way to test your friends.
Yeah, no, it's actually nice because it's epic, but it's also not life-threatening. So like it does, like sometimes, like if this happened to be over a cliff, it might almost get a little cliche. And then we'd also have to think about like how is Nami gonna get over that? Like it would be a little more logistically problematic. But this is like a very simple friendship test that I don't advise you do. This is not a healthy way to generally test friendships. Eric, get your pool ready, and I'm coming over.
Nope.
I need to make sure you'd save me if I was drowning.
I am not a strong swimmer, so do not do that.
Oh no.
All right. Let me click on yours
good.
now.
Oh, did you click it yet?
Yes. Which one am I looking at?
Okay, no worries. I was gonna test you and say, could you guess which one's mine? But you can guess between. I gave you the whole page of panels, and I'm sure you'll guess which one it is.
Is it the one? Is it the boat?
Is it the boat? Which one's the boat?
The one where
tell me the
one where he's like, whoop, hey, the merry-go.
Oh, Eric, you do not know me. I am obsessed with maps.
Oh my goodness, he shows the map thing.
I did. Go ahead and tell him what you see.
Yes, this is where we get a geography lesson of the layout of our whole arc. Essentially, we find out where starting from right to left, Gosha Village. And then we have the Tangerine House in the middle here with the merry-go. We can see that on the map. And we also get a fun little "you are here" for Usopp, because Usopp's the one thinking about it. And then after that is Cocoa Village. And then next to Cocoa Village, a little bit further, is Arlong Park. And we get a really cool compass. Like a compass is on the map too. We get Usopp just kind of talking. Essentially what I talked about is what he's saying out here, out loud, essentially.
Yeah, I know. We got it's cool because we get him it's his like the top map. You know what it almost feels like the map is his thought bubble, but the thought bubble is like the land in a way, And then we have the water underneath it, and then you get a nice. It's always fun to have a side view of Usopp's face. Get a nose. He puts his finger on his nose apparently when he's thinking. He sweats a little bit. So just like a really nice. I've always enjoyed every map panel in One Piece so far that explains anything about the world, and it's just another creative way that it's been done right here. So
that's quite Nami of you, let me tell you.
Yeah, well, and interestingly enough, maybe this moment here, Nami's going to use her Nami will lose her usefulness, because is this the moment where Usopp learns geography? Is he's going to be able to take over the role of navigator?
Are you willing to put your TFT on that?
Oh, TFT. My tinfoil hat. Oh, I think if I was to put my tinfoil hat on something,
you're right, TFH.
Okay, he's working hard. Yeah. I'll put it on that this is, okay, I'll give you a much worse, much less interesting tinfoil hat. This is not the last time Usopp will use his geography skills in the world of One Piece. And it'll have to be pretty bold. He'll either have to mention compass directions, or think of a map, or talk about places and where they're located between each other. It's got to be legit. It can't just be he knew how to get somewhere. No, it has to be he talked about how to get somewhere. He used some compass direction. I think this will come to play later on in One Piece.
Wow, so thrilling. So
thrilling. When it happens, I'm gonna be so excited. I'll be like,
a real big
Eric, you know what happened? You won't even know.
Side of the interwebs.
You're gonna be like, what's going on? I'll be like, Usopp said the word west, and you'll be like, why does that matter? And I'll be like, my bet from back in the day when I put on my tinfoil hat. Crinkle.
We gotta end our episode now with that very, very thrilling TFH. Do you have a noise?
Baby.
Do you have a noise we want to do?
Oh, do I have a noise? Of course I have a noise, Eric. I'm debating between either throwing ourselves into the water, as one does. You know what? I like that better than my other idea. So I think get ready to throw yourself backwards into the water. This is bad because if we both do it, really, there's no way to test our friendship. I don't know why we decided at this moment that we're going to tie ourselves up.
That means that
and
a
then
listener
both...
has to, one of our fellow tourists or tour guides need to come all the way out to save us.
We're testing. And it'll wait a second. Logistically, this isn't going to work out because I haven't edited or put up the podcast yet, so they won't be getting this. But that was us being stupid like fish. Maybe we're fish people. Maybe that's why that was the case in this matter. I didn't think it through. Regardless, we're going to go through with the plan to test our tourists and tour guides out there water. To save us. Oh no, I'm coming. Wiggle, wiggle.
I hope it's a good idea.